And we're now joined by Amna Nawaz, who filed that report from Pakistan and recently returned home to Washington. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So you were just recently in Pakistan. Give us some examples of how the recent bombings and the attacks have changed the way that people are living their lives.
Well, I spent much of my time in the capital city, in Islamabad, though I did get out and about to much of the rest of the country as well. And based on the last time I'd been there, which was about 2 years earlier, the city had completely changed. There were checkposts every so often along the major roadways. People themselves had taken it upon themselves to make their own private houses into fortresses almost, with armed guards and security barriers. And the whole city just seemed to be much more aware of what the security concerns were and how they could better protect themselves.
And how would you say that the attitudes towards the security situation in Islamabad were different from the border provinces, which you also visited, and you spent quite a lot of time in the Fatah area?
Well, I don't know that they were all that different, to be honest. I think people are very concerned. I think people, their concerns are based mostly on the fact that so much of the attacks are random, it seems, and are being carried out in a number of different ways and in a number of different places across the country. So there was sort of heightened tension everywhere you would go. In the capital city in particular, I guess you could say that there was a greater concern because there are what could be considered high-value targets for militants, a lot of soft targets and areas in which, if they were able to hit, it does have much more of an impact in terms of sort of the fear that it can create in the rest of the population. So in the capital city in particular, I think, you know, people may have complained a little bit about the delays the checkposts cause and that sort of thing. But by and large, they're grateful that the security steps are being taken because they're just as worried as anyone else about what could possibly be carried out there.
So when you have conversations with ordinary Pakistanis, who do they blame for the heightened security situation?
Mostly they blame the militants. They're not considering it to be a problem to have to go through checkposts. You know, if they have to buttress their own personal security in their homes, it's fine. But they have been waiting for this military offensive that's being carried out right now in South Waziristan, which is sort of the nexus of militant activity in the country. Many people are hoping that once that is over, once that has been won, so to speak, by the military, that maybe the militant activity outside that area and in the rest of the country will also die down.
And how did people react to you as a Pakistani American?
You know, Pakistanis have a long tradition of very generous hospitality. So that is, of course, the first way they reacted to me. They're sort of a welcoming home of someone they consider to be one of their own. But there's also great interest in terms of what the American perspective is and what Americans are saying. Because as much as it is a Pakistani problem in terms of taking care of the activity in their border area, it is as well a U.S. and NATO forces issue on the other side of the border.
All right, Amna Nawaz, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.